The day started like any other on Earth. People went about their daily lives, unaware that everything was about to change. In New York, Tokyo, and London, crowds rushed through busy streets. Farmers tended their fields under open skies. Children laughed in playgrounds. It was a normal day on a planet that had always felt alone in the universe. Then, without warning, it appeared. A massive spaceship, unlike anything humans had ever seen, materialized in Earth's orbit. Its sudden appearance sent shockwaves through global monitoring systems. Within minutes, every major government and military organization was on high alert. Dr. Sarah Chen, lead scientist at NASA's Space Observation Center, was the first to confirm the object's artificial nature. "It's not a natural phenomenon," she reported, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and excitement. "We're dealing with an alien spacecraft." As world leaders scrambled to respond, the alien ship made no aggressive moves. Instead, it simply hung in the sky, a silent, looming presence that everyone on Earth could see with the naked eye once night fell. 24 hours passed in tense silence. Then, suddenly, every screen on Earth, from smartphones to giant billboards in Times Square, flickered to life with the same image: a humanoid figure with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. The alien spoke in perfect English, its voice oddly melodious. "People of Earth, I am Ambassador Zix of the Galactic Empire. We have observed your civilization for centuries, and now we come with a warning. Stay on your planet. Do not venture into deep space. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and you are not ready." The ambassador's words sent shockwaves through humanity. Some people panicked, rushing to stock up on supplies or hide in bunkers. Others celebrated, thrilled at the confirmation that humans weren't alone in the universe. But many felt something else: indignation. Among them was Captain Jake Rodriguez of the United States Space Force. As he watched the broadcast from Mission Control in Houston, his fists clenched. "Who are they to tell us what we can and can't do?" he muttered. Across the globe, in a small apartment in Mumbai, software engineer Priya Patel felt the same way. She had always dreamed of space exploration. Now, an alien empire was trying to crush that dream. "We've come too far to stop now," she said to her roommate. "We can't let them hold us back." In the following days, world leaders met in emergency sessions at the United Nations. Some argued for compliance with the empire's warning, fearing the consequences of defiance. Others pushed for continued space exploration, refusing to be intimidated. As the debate raged, a grassroots movement began to form. It started with online forums and social media hashtags. #HumanityUnbound, #ExploreTheStars, #DefyTheEmpire. Soon, people were taking to the streets in peaceful protests, demanding that humanity continue its journey to the stars. Dr. Chen, now a reluctant celebrity, found herself at the forefront of this movement. In a viral video, she said, "The Empire's warning only proves that there's something out there worth exploring. We can't turn back now." Captain Rodriguez, inspired by the public's response, began secretly working with a team of engineers to design new spacecraft capable of interstellar travel. In her apartment, Priya started coding a new AI system designed to outsmart alien technology. 2 weeks after the Empire's warning, Earth's leaders finally reached a decision. In a joint broadcast, they announced that while they appreciated the Empire's concern, humanity would continue its space exploration efforts. The response from the Empire was swift. The massive ship in orbit suddenly came to life, its surface shimmering with strange energies. For a moment, everyone on Earth held their breath, fearing an attack. Instead, a new message appeared on screens worldwide. Ambassador Zix's face looked grim as he spoke. "We gave you a chance to avoid the dangers that await. You have chosen to ignore our warning. From this moment forward, you are on your own. Do not expect the Empire's protection when you face the horrors of deep space." With that, the massive ship vanished as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving behind a stunned but determined humanity. As night fell once again, millions looked up at the stars with new eyes. The galaxy had thrown down a challenge, and humanity was ready to answer it. The adventure was just beginning. In the weeks following the Galactic Empire's warning and sudden departure, Earth was a planet transformed. The initial shock had worn off, replaced by a mix of determination and nervous energy. Humanity had been challenged, and now it was time to respond. In a small, windowless room deep beneath New York City, a group of unlikely allies gathered. Captain Jake Rodriguez, still in his Space Force uniform, stood next to Dr. Sarah Chen, her lab coat rumpled from days of non-stop work. Priya Patel, the software engineer from Mumbai, was there too, her laptop open and fingers flying over the keys. They were joined by others: a Russian cosmonaut, a Chinese quantum physicist, a Brazilian aerospace engineer. "Welcome to the first meeting of the Earthbound Resistance," Jake said, his voice grave. "We're here because we believe humanity deserves a place among the stars. Empire be damned." Sarah nodded, her eyes bright with excitement despite her exhaustion. "We've made more progress in the past month than in the last decade. Look at this." She pulled up a holographic display showing a sleek spacecraft design. "With the data we gathered from the Empire's ship, we've developed a prototype for an FTL drive." The room buzzed with excitement. Faster-than-light travel had always been a dream, but now it was within reach. Priya spoke up next. "I've been working on an AI system to help us navigate alien tech. It's based on the patterns we observed in the Empire's communications." As the group discussed their plans, they didn't realize they were being watched. In Washington, D.C., London, Beijing, and other capitals around the world, government officials monitored the meeting through hidden cameras. The world's leaders had publicly agreed to defy the Empire, but privately, many were terrified of the consequences. "We should shut them down," one advisor urged the U.S. president, "if the Empire finds out." The president, a former astronaut herself, shook her head. "No, we'll deny knowledge of their activities if asked, but we won't stop them. Humanity needs this group." Similar conversations played out in government offices worldwide. The Earthbound Resistance would be allowed to operate, with secret support from global powers. Back in the underground room, the team was unaware of the high-level decisions being made about their fate. They were focused on the monumental task ahead. "We need to be careful," Jake warned. "The Empire might still be watching. We'll have to work in secret, at least for now." The others nodded in agreement. They knew the risks, but they were willing to take them. Over the next few months, the resistance grew. Scientists, engineers, and dreamers from around the world joined their ranks. They worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge and technology. In a hidden facility in the Gobi Desert, they built their first starship. It was small, designed for a crew of just 5, but it represented humanity's defiance of the Empire's warning. The night before the planned launch, Jake stood alone on the launch pad, looking up at the stars. He thought about the risks, the unknown dangers that awaited them in space. But then he remembered the Empire's dismissive warning, the assumption that humanity wasn't ready. His resolve hardened. Inside the facility, Sarah and Priya were doing final checks on the ship's systems. The AI Priya had developed, nicknamed Spark, was integrated into every aspect of the vessel. "Do you think we're really ready for this?" Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. Priya paused her typing and looked at the scientist. "Ready or not, we have to try. The whole world is counting on us, even if they don't know it yet." As dawn broke over the desert, the small crew boarded the ship. Jake took the captain's seat, with Sarah as his second in command. Priya manned the communication station, ready to interface with Spark if needed. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. In cities around the world, a few keen-eyed observers noticed a strange light in the sky. 7, 6, 5. In their hidden monitoring stations, government officials held their breath. 4, 3, 2. The resistance members in the command center crossed their fingers, hoping their months of work would pay off. 1. With a roar that shook the desert, humanity's first true starship lifted off. It rose quickly, punching through the atmosphere in minutes. As it reached orbit, the experimental FTL drive hummed to life. There was a flash of light, and then the ship was gone, leaving behind a stunned Earth and a group of rebels who had just changed the course of human history. The real test was about to begin. The Starship Defiance hung in the inky blackness of space, its crew still in awe of their successful jump. Captain Jake Rodriguez floated to the main viewport, his eyes wide with wonder. Earth was nowhere to be seen. They had done it. They had defied the Empire and ventured into deep space. "Status report," Jake called out, his voice steadied despite his racing heart. Dr. Sarah Chen's fingers danced over her console. "All systems nominal, Captain. The FTL drive is cooling down as expected. We're approximately 10 light-years from Earth." Priya Patel, at the communication station, suddenly sat up straight. "Captain, I'm picking up something on long-range scanners. It's a ship." The crew fell silent. They had expected to encounter alien life eventually, but not so soon. Jake's mind raced. Was it the Empire? Had they been followed? "On screen," he ordered. The main display flickered to life, showing a sleek silver vessel. It was smaller than the Empire's massive ship, but still dwarfed the Defiance. As they watched, the alien craft changed course, heading straight for them. "They've seen us," Sarah whispered. Jake squared his shoulders. "This is what we came for. Let's make first contact count. Priya, open a channel." Before Priya could respond, a beam of energy shot from the alien ship, enveloping the Defiance in a soft, blue light. "We're being scanned," Sarah reported, her voice tense. Suddenly, the ship's speakers crackled to life. A voice, speaking in perfect English, filled the bridge. "Unidentified vessel, you are in violation of Imperial space. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded." Jake's heart sank. It was an Empire patrol ship. They had hoped to avoid detection, to explore and gather information before revealing themselves. That plan was now in shambles. "Spark," Jake called out to their AI. "Any suggestions?" The AI's calm voice responded. "Based on the scan data, their weapon systems are powered up but not locked on. Their shields, however, are not at full strength. We may have a tactical advantage if we act quickly." Jake nodded, a plan forming in his mind. "Sarah, divert all non-essential power to engines and shields. Priya, ready the EM pulse we developed. Let's show them what humanity can do." As the Imperial ship drew closer, the Defiance sprang into action. It shot forward, its enhanced engines pushing it to speeds that surprised even its own crew. The sudden burst of acceleration caught the Imperial ship off guard. "Now, Priya," Jake shouted. Priya hit a button, and a wave of electromagnetic energy pulsed out from the Defiance. It washed over the Imperial ship, causing its lights to flicker and its engines to sputter. "Direct hit," Sarah exclaimed. "Their systems are scrambled. They're dead in space." Jake allowed himself a small smile. "Good work, team. But we're not out of the woods yet. Priya, try to access their systems while they're vulnerable." Priya's fingers flew over her keyboard, her face a mask of concentration. "I'm in. Downloading their database now." Spark is translating and analyzing in real time. For several tense minutes, the crew of the Defiance worked feverishly. They knew it was only a matter of time before the Imperial ship recovered. Finally, Priya looked up, her eyes shining with excitement. "You won't believe what we found. Star charts, technological schematics, cultural information. It's a goldmine." Jake nodded, his expression serious. "Great work, but we can't stick around. Sarah, plot a course back to Earth. We need to deliver this information." As the Defiance prepared to jump to FTL, the Imperial ship began to show signs of recovery. Its lights flickered back to life, and its engines started to hum. "They're powering up weapons," Sarah warned. "Hang on, everyone. Jake shouted as he activated the FTL drive. The stars blurred around them as the Defiance leaped into faster-than-light travel, leaving the Imperial ship far behind. As the adrenaline of the encounter wore off, the reality of what they had just accomplished began to sink in. They had not only survived their first encounter with the Empire, but had emerged victorious. More importantly, they were returning home with invaluable information that could change the course of human history. As Earth appeared on their view screen, growing larger by the second, Jake addressed his crew. "We've just proven that humanity can stand up to the Empire. But this is only the beginning. The real challenge starts now." The Defiance streaked through Earth's atmosphere, carrying with it the seeds of a revolution that would shake the galaxy to its core. The return of the Defiance was met with jubilation and apprehension. As news of their encounter with the Imperial ship spread, Earth's leaders gathered in an emergency session at the United Nations. Captain Jake Rodriguez and his crew stood before them, recounting their mission and presenting the stolen Imperial data. With this information, Jake concluded, "We can advance our technology by decades, maybe even centuries." The room buzzed with excitement, but one voice cut through the chatter. "And what of the Empire's response?" the Chinese representative asked, her face grave. "Surely they won't let this insult go unanswered." As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the building. A junior officer burst into the room, his face pale. Multiple objects entering Earth's atmosphere. They're Imperial ships. Chaos erupted in the chamber. On screens around the world, people watched in horror as massive Imperial warships descended from the sky. They were nothing like the lone patrol ship the Defiance had encountered. These were planet killers. In New York, towering skyscrapers crumbled under the Empire's energy weapons. Tokyo was engulfed in a sea of flames. London's iconic skyline vanished in a cloud of dust and debris. Back at the UN, Jake grabbed Dr. Sarah Chen and Priya Patel. "We need to get to the Defiance," he shouted over the din. "It's our only chance." As they raced through the panicked streets, dodging falling debris and fleeing civilians, Priya's mind was working overtime. "The data we stole," she gasped between breaths. "It might have a weakness we can exploit." They'd reached the secret hangar where the Defiance was docked, only to find it partially collapsed. The ship was damaged but still operational. As they boarded, Sarah began rapid repairs while Jake took the helm. "Spark," Jake called out to the AI. "Analyze the Imperial data. Find us a weakness, anything we can use." As the Defiance lifted off, weaving through the chaos of the invasion, Spark's calm voice filled the bridge. "Analysis complete. The Imperial ship's central power cores are vulnerable to specific electromagnetic frequencies. A targeted pulse could disable their systems temporarily." Priya's eyes lit up. "Like what we did to the patrol ship, but on a massive scale." Jake nodded grimly. "But we'd need to broadcast it from somewhere with enough power to reach all the ships at once." Sarah looked up from her repairs, her face streaked with grease and determination. "The International Space Station. If we can get there, we might be able to use its communications array to amplify the pulse." It was a desperate plan, but it was all they had. As the Defiance rocketed towards the ISS, they watched in horror as more cities fell to the Imperial assault. The once beautiful blue marble of Earth was now scared with fire and smoke. Reaching the space station, they found it abandoned, its crew having evacuated at the first sign of the invasion. Working feverishly, the team connected the Defiance's systems to the ISS's powerful transmitters. "It's ready," Priya announced, her fingers hovering over the launch button. "But Jake, this pulse, it'll fry every electronic device on Earth too. We'll be sending humanity back to the Dark Ages." Jake closed his eyes, the weight of the decision heavy on his shoulders. He thought of all the people below, fighting for survival, of the civilization that might be lost. But then he thought of the alternative, complete annihilation under the Empire's boot. "Do it," he said softly. Priya pressed the button. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a ripple expanding across a pond, a wave of energy burst forth from the station. It washed over the Earth and the Imperial fleet. One by one, the massive warships began to falter. Their lights flickered and died. Their weapons fell silent. Slowly, inexorably, they began to fall from the sky. But on the surface, the pulse had done its work too. Cities that had survived the invasion now went dark. Satellites fell from orbit. The entire electrical infrastructure of human civilization collapsed in an instant. As the Defiance drifted in orbit, its own systems knocked out by the pulse, Jake and his crew watched their homeworld grow dark. They had saved humanity from the Empire, but at a terrible cost. "What now?" Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. Jake's jaw set with determination. "Now we rebuild, and we prepare, because the Empire will be back. And next time, we'll be ready for them." As the first light of a new dawn crept over the horizon of the battered Earth, humanity faced its greatest challenge yet. The road ahead would be hard, but they would face it together, stronger and more united than ever before. 6 months had passed since the day the lights went out. Earth was a changed planet. Cities lay in ruins, but from the ashes, a new civilization was slowly emerging. Humanity, resilient as ever, adapted to life without advanced technology. In what was once New York City, now a patchwork of makeshift settlements, Captain Jake Rodriguez stood atop a crumbling skyscraper. He looked out over the city, where people worked together to rebuild, using salvaged materials and rediscovered old technologies. Suddenly, a flash of light in the sky caught his attention. Jake's heart raced. Was it the Empire, returning to finish what they started? But as the light descended, Jake realized it wasn't an Imperial ship. It was something entirely new. The strange craft landed in Central Park, now a communal farm. Jake rushed to the scene, joined by Dr. Sarah Chen and Priya Patel. A crowd gathered, watching warily as the ship's hatch opened. 3 figures emerged. They were clearly not human, but neither did they resemble the blue-skinned Imperials. One was tall and slender, with 4 arms and iridescent skin. Another was short and stocky, covered in thick fur. The third looked almost plant-like, with bark-like skin and leaves for hair. The tall one spoke, its voice melodious and clear. "People of Earth, we come in peace. We are the Resistance, enemies of the Galactic Empire, and we seek your alliance." Jake stepped forward, his hand on his makeshift weapon. "Why should we trust you?" The alien smiled, a surprisingly human expression. "Because, like you, we have suffered under the Empire's tyranny. We've been watching you, impressed by your victory against the Imperial fleet. We believe that together we can bring down the Empire once and for all." Sarah pushed through the crowd. "You've been watching us. For how long?" The furry alien answered, its voice gruff but kind. "Since your first encounter with the patrol ship, we've been tracking the Empire's movements, waiting for the right moment to make contact." Priya, always the practical one, asked, "What exactly are you proposing?" The plant-like being stepped forward, leaves rustling. "An exchange. We can help you restore your technology, even advance it beyond what you had before. In return, we need your help to fight the Empire." The crowd murmured. The offer was tempting, but the memory of the Empire's attack was still fresh. Jake turned to his friends. "What do you think?" Sarah's eyes gleamed with scientific curiosity. "Their technology could help us rebuild faster, prepare better for the Empire's return." Priya nodded. "And we could learn about other civilizations, other ways of fighting the Empire." Jake faced the aliens. "We'll need to discuss this with what's left of our world leaders. But speaking for myself, I'm interested." Over the next few weeks, Earth's remaining leaders met with the alien resistance. They learned about a galaxy far more complex than they had imagined. The Empire, it turned out, controlled only a fraction of the known universe. Many other civilizations existed, some in hiding, others actively fighting against Imperial rule. The aliens shared stories of imperial cruelty, of entire planets stripped of resources, of species enslaved or wiped out. But they also told of successful rebellions, of worlds that had fought back and won their freedom. As promised, the aliens helped restore some of Earth's technology. Solar panels bloomed across city rooftops. Wind turbines rose from the plains. Hospitals hummed with advanced medical equipment. Schools reopened, now teaching not just Earth history, but galactic history. In return, humans shared their unique perspectives and innovations. The aliens were particularly impressed by humanity's adaptability and creativity in the face of adversity. 3 months after the aliens' arrival, Earth's newly formed Global Council made its decision. In a public ceremony broadcast worldwide using newly restored communications, Jake stood before a podium, flanked by Sarah, Preya, and the 3 alien representatives. Today, Jake announced, his voice strong and clear, "On behalf of all humanity, we formally join the Galactic Resistance. We do this not just for our own survival, but for the freedom of all sentient beings across the stars." The crowd erupted in cheers. Humans embraced their new alien allies. For the first time since the Imperial attack, there was a feeling of hope, of possibility. As Jake looked out over the cheering crowd, he felt a mix of pride and apprehension. They had come so far, but he knew the real battle was just beginning. The Empire was still out there, still a threat. But now, Earth wasn't facing that threat alone. The stars no longer seemed like a warning to stay away. They were a challenge, an invitation, and humanity, together with their new allies, was ready to answer that call. A year had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Resistance. The planet was transformed. Gleaming cities rose from the ashes of the old world, built with a mix of human ingenuity and alien technology. But these cities weren't just for living. They were fortresses, ready for the inevitable return of the Empire. In the heart of the new United Earth Defense Force headquarters, Captain Jake Rodriguez stood before a holographic map of the galaxy. Beside him were Dr. Sarah Chen, Priya Patel, and their alien allies. Zix, the tall, four-armed strategist. Grolk, the furry weapons expert. And Flynn, the plant-like engineer. "The Empire's main shipyard is here," Zix said, pointing to a star system near the galactic core. "If we could destroy it, we'd cripple their ability to wage war across the galaxy." Grolk growled in agreement, "But it's heavily guarded. No resistance force has ever gotten close." Jake studied the map, his mind racing. Then, slowly, a smile spread across his face. What if we didn't try to get close? What if we went in loud and proud, right through the front door? The others looked at him in confusion. Jake continued, "The Empire thinks they broke us. They don't know about our alliance. So let's show up in a human ship, acting like we're there to surrender. They'll be so shocked, it might give us the opening we need." Sarah's eyes widened. "It's risky, but it just might work. We could hide our alien allies and advanced weapons on board." Priya nodded excitedly. "And I could create a virus to disable their systems once we're inside." The plan took shape quickly. The Defiance, now upgraded with alien tech, but still recognizably human, would lead the mission. A small fleet of advanced resistance ships would hide nearby, ready to jump in once the attack began. As the day of the mission dawned, Jake addressed the crew. "What we do today isn't just for Earth. It's for every world that's suffered under the Empire. It's for freedom across the galaxy." The Defiance jumped into hyperspace, emerging near the Imperial shipyard. Immediately, they were surrounded by Imperial cruisers. "Attention, human vessel," a cold voice crackled over the comm. "You are in restricted space. State your purpose." Jake took a deep breath. "This is Captain Jake Rodriguez of Earth. We've come to surrender." There was a long pause. Then, "Proceed to docking Bay 9. Any deviation will result in immediate destruction." As the Defiance was pulled into the massive space station, Jake could see hundreds of Imperial ships in various stages of construction. The sight steeled his resolve. The moment they docked, everything happened at once. Imperial troops stormed the ship, only to be met by resistance fighters emerging from hidden compartments. Priya unleashed her virus, causing chaos in the station's systems. Jake, Sarah, and Zix fought their way to the station's control room. Alarms blared and lights flashed as they raced through the corridors, exchanging fire with Imperial soldiers. In the control room, Sarah quickly accessed the main computer. "I'm overloading the power core," she shouted over the din of battle. "We have 10 minutes before this whole place blows." Jake hit the broadcast button. "All resistance forces, attack now." Outside, the hidden resistance fleet decloaked and opened fire. The unprepared Imperial ships were caught off guard. As the station began to shake and explode around them, the team fought their way back to the Defiance. Imperial ships tried to flee, only to be picked off by the resistance fleet. With seconds to spare, the Defiance blasted out of the doomed station. Behind them, the shipyard erupted in a spectacular explosion, taking with it the heart of the Empire's naval power. As they jumped to safety, the cockpit of the Defiance erupted in cheers. They had done it. Against all odds, they had struck a critical blow against the seemingly invincible Galactic Empire. But amid the celebration, Jake remained focused. He knew this was just the beginning. The Empire had been wounded, but not defeated. The real war was about to begin. As the stars streaked by outside, Jake allowed himself a small smile. Humanity had been told to stay away from the stars. Instead, they had reached out and shaken the very foundations of the galaxy. Whatever came next, Earth and its allies were ready. The Empire had made a grave mistake in underestimating humanity. Now they were about to learn just how costly that mistake would be. The destruction of the Imperial shipyard sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, the Empire seemed vulnerable. Inspired by Earth's audacity, planets that had long suffered under Imperial rule began to rebel. On Earth, Captain Jake Rodriguez stood before the United Earth Council, delivering his report on the recent victory. The room was packed with human leaders and alien allies alike. "The Empire is in chaos," Jake said, his voice firm. "But they're far from defeated. We've opened a door, and now we need to be ready for whatever comes through it." As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the building. A young officer burst into the room, her face pale. "Multiple Imperial ships have entered the solar system." Instead of panic, a steely resolve settled over the room. This was the moment they had been preparing for. Jake turned to Dr. Sarah Chen and Priya Patel. "It's time. Let's show them what Earth can do." Within minutes, the skies above Earth filled with ships. But this time, it wasn't just the Empire descending upon a helpless planet. A fleet of Earth ships, built with a blend of human ingenuity and alien technology, rose to meet the threat. Alongside them were vessels from a dozen alien races, all part of the now sprawling galactic resistance. The battle that followed was like nothing the solar system had ever seen. Imperial ships, still formidable despite their recent losses, clashed with the diverse fleet of the resistance. Earth itself was no longer an easy target. Orbital defense platforms, hastily constructed over the past year, fired salvos at the incoming enemy. On the bridge of the flagship Defiance, Jake coordinated the defense. Sarah managed the ship's advanced systems, while Priya worked her technological magic, hacking, and disrupting Imperial communications. As the battle raged, something unexpected happened. A transmission cut through the chaos, broadcast on all frequencies. The face that appeared on the screen was blue-skinned and severe, the Emperor himself. "People of Earth and their misguided allies," the Emperor's voice boomed. "Your resistance is futile. Surrender now, and perhaps we will be merciful." Jake exchanged glances with his crew and their alien friends. Then, with a nod from the Earth Council representative, he stepped forward to respond. "Emperor," Jake said, his voice calm but resolute, "we will not surrender. We will not stay quietly on our world. The galaxy is for all sentient beings, not just your empire. We offered you peace once, and you responded with violence. Now, we offer you a choice. Leave our worlds in peace, or face the combined might of a free galaxy. For a moment, silence reigned. Then, to everyone's shock, laughter erupted from the Emperor. Brave words, human. Very well. Let us end this charade. What followed was a battle that would be remembered for generations. The Empire threw everything they had at Earth and its allies. But for every ship they destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. Planets that had been sitting on the sidelines joined the fight, inspired by Earth's defiance. As the conflict stretched from hours into days, it became clear that this was more than just a battle. It was the beginning of the end for the Galactic Empire. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of combat, the Imperial fleet began to retreat. The Emperor's ship, its once pristine hull now scared and burning, limped away from the battlefield. Cheers erupted across the Resistance fleet. On Earth, people poured into the streets, celebrating not just their survival, but their emergence onto the galactic stage. In the weeks that followed, representatives from Earth traveled to neutral worlds, negotiating a ceasefire with what remained of the Empire. It wasn't a total victory. The Empire still controlled vast swathes of the galaxy. But it was a beginning. As Jake stood on a balcony overlooking the rebuilt New York City, now a shining beacon of human and alien cooperation, he reflected on how far they had come. The Empire had warned humanity to stay away from the stars. Instead, humanity had reached out and reshaped the very fabric of galactic society. Sarah joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "What do you think comes next?" she asked. Jake smiled, looking up at the night sky where ships from a dozen worlds twinkled like new stars. Exploration. Diplomacy. Maybe some more battles. But mostly, I think we'll do what humans have always done. We'll adapt, we'll grow, and we'll reach for the stars. As a new day dawned on Earth, it also dawned on a new era for the galaxy. Humanity had refused to be confined, and in doing so, they had changed everything. The message was clear. The galaxy was vast, but it was no longer off limits. Humanity was here to stay.